So this is the story of two cyclists, one good, one not, while attempting to ride back to back to back to back to back to back to back days on gravel bikes, all while carrying their own tools and food from the start of the ride to the end of the ride, oh, and also trying to find water literally in the middle of the desert, all with the simple goal to find out, is this possible? So Jeremiah and I head out from Yuma, Arizona. It was very early in the morning, very cold, but super beautiful. On paper, this route didn't seem that difficult, 117 miles and less than 5,000 feet of climbing, but the gravel, as soon as we hit it very early on, we realized how tough it was going to be. It was pretty loose, but that wasn't the biggest part. The biggest part was the washboard, and really the whole trip had this, where the washboard was so jarring on your whole body, and you couldn't really ride the way you wanted to ride.
Initial reactions are that 760 miles of this is going to be really tough.
So both Jeremiah and I took a really long time to sort of get used to how to ride this type of gravel, especially with the bikes fully weighted down with water and food and tools. But the views were unbelievable. And our passion for bikes this early on was very high. We were having a ton of fun, feeling like this was just going to be the trip of our lifetime. And then we hit this sand wash. Now, this sand was more like beach pebbles. It was very, very deep. If you could ride, you were putting out insane amounts of watts just to keep it upright. It was one of the most difficult things I've ever done.
So just crashed, couldn't get out of the pedals. I was trying to be rock star and ride it, but not happening. So I'm gonna pick ourselves up and keep moving.
It took us about 3 hours to get through that sand wash, and as soon as we got done with that, we hit one of the hardest climbs I've ever done in my life. How off camber it was, how technical it was, how steep it was. The day was getting extremely brutal. We did, though, end up getting onto a much tamer dirt road for a while. This was a welcome surprise, and it was really pretty, not too hot. And then we finally did get on some road, and the road, compared to what we had been riding, was amazing. I mean, we were all smiles, we were flying, we were making up time. And then we turn on to another extremely difficult road. You can see Jeremiah, he's a pro mountain biker, and he's having just an insane time with this. Again, there are no water stops out here. So at this point, we are close to 7 hours, 8 hours into the ride, and we are completely out of water. We're completely out of food. And Jeremiah is telling me that we just need to get to the top of this climb and that there's some town that we're going to hit. And I was on my deathbed. And we just had been able to crest over the top of this climb. We dug so extremely deep, ended up finding a whole family of motorcycle people out there. They gave us some water. It was fantastic. We descended down into some farmland. It was one of the hardest days I've ever had on a bike. We roll into our campsite at the end of day one, and I am completely dead. I fall off my bike, and there is no way that I'm going to start day two. At this point, this 7-day trip is one day.
I was straight up laughing because it was so ridiculous. Like walking through pebbles and beach sand for hours. We can do 10 miles without water, 15 miles without water. I mean,
you said that. I said, no way.
Yeah.
I said, there's no way I'm gonna make this.
But you know what?
And then you told me there was a town. You're like, look at the town. There's water in the town. We never hit a town.
No, we definitely didn't.